After around 150 lesbian, gay, bisexual and transgender marchers came under attack.
We can't wait to talk about violence against Black trans women when they're murdered.
Fears were realized this weekend as a mob of right-wing players attacked a pride march in the town of Bialystok.
I was beaten by 6 guys along with my brother and my mother.
We live knowing that the probability of us being killed is very high.
저는 아이가 셋이 있는 부모거든요. 그래서 동성애가 건강하고 바른 가치관이라는 생각은 들지 않아요. 그러니까 성소수자들이 미워서나 싫어서가 아니라 정말 이 건강하고 바른 가치관을 일반 시민들에게도 알려주고 싶었어요. 예, 이런 가치관도 있다. 이런 모습들을 보여주고 싶었고 실제로 저는 제 딸아이하고 이 현장에 나왔거든요.
네, 그러면 마지막으로 성소수자들에게 한마디 한번 해주시겠어요?
성소수자들이요? 네, 사실 제 주위에도 성소수자 분들이 계시고요. 제 친구 중에도 계시고 한데 그분들에게 드리는 말씀은 동일하게 네, 진정한 사랑으로 하나님께서 우리에게 주신 사랑으로 돌아왔으면 좋겠다라는 네, 그런 권면의 말씀을 드리고 싶습니다.
정말 저희도 이 자리에 나와 있고 또 모습으로만 보자면 반대하는 편, 찬성하는 편 뭔가 싸움 구도처럼 보이지만 저희는 여러분들을 뭐 비난하거나 막 당신네들이 잘못됐다 뭐 어떻게 말하려고 하는 게 아니라 정말 사랑하기 때문에 정말 당신들이 그 안에서 힘들지 않고 정말 삶으로 빛으로 나왔으면 좋겠다.
전혀 저희는 이상한 게 아니고 효도를 이제 불효를 하는 것도 아니고 그냥 평범하게 사랑을 하고 있을 뿐이고 다 똑같은 사람이고 그러니까 너무 이상하게 보지 않았으면 좋겠고
이미 신념이 확고한 분들인 것 같아서 무슨 말을 해도 잘 안 들리겠지만은 그래도 저희들을 사랑하고 당신들을 사랑한다는 걸 알았으면 좋겠어요.
그 종교 단체에서 많이 오시는 것 같은데 어떤 신이라고 하더라도 모든 타입의 사랑을 지지했을 거라고 믿습니다.
누군가를 혐오하기 위해 저 정도의 열정을 갖고 모인다는 게 정말 신기합니다. 사랑이란 이름으로 폭력을 행사하지 않았으면 좋겠어요.
이런 일에 시간 쏟지 말고 자기 인생 열심히 살았으면 좋겠어요. 파이팅!
多分それカミングアウトするまでってすごい大変、すごい悩んで言ってきたと思うから、あんま否定しないようにはしたいって思います。
僕はまあ素直に受け入れることはできると思います。
僕はまあできれば異性を好きになるようにまあ育ってほしいですけど、同性の方を好きになるっていうのは経験したことがないので自分自身。そっちの方の気持ちはよく分かんないですね。
非常になんていうか落ち込んじゃうよね。これはやっぱりショックだよね。でも認めざるを得ないだろうね。
落胆は僕は割としないんですけどね。また何ですかね、幸せにしてやろうと思います。それだけですね。
私だったら普通に受け入れると思います。その人の人間性でなんていうかの方がもっとなんか重要だと思う。で将来的にも普通に社会に出て成長していければそれでもう十分だと思う。
ちなみに日本人のお父さんとかだったとしたら どういうふうに思うと思いますか？
日本人のお父さんだったら厳しいかもしれませんね。
なんで厳しいんですか？これ。
なんか思い込みがあるっていうか、その昔ながらの伝えっていうなんかそんな感じが気にするんじゃないかな。
How do you think Singaporeans feel in general about the Singaporean LGBT community?
I think they are still very conservative, yeah. So in general, they can't do much on it, yeah, because there's a lot of law there to prevent them from being open.
I think it's more like a culture in most of the developed countries. I should say that Singapore is one of them. So we just don't bother about other people's privacy because that is pretty private.
So how I feel about it is I don't understand. I'm not really sure why they are still penalizing people for it, because it's between two consenting adults. You're not killing anyone, you're not murdering anyone, you're not hurting anybody. So why should you penalize somebody, when there are two mutual parties that are agreeable to do this, and it's not hurting anybody.
I can see the changes coming, but I'm not sure. But I think it's still quite a long road to walk in order for the LGBT community to be treated as equals, share the same rights, and not face the sort of social judgment and pressure. I feel like the change is coming, but the change might take some time.
I just hope people can be more accepting to the LGBT community. Like they're all people, we just like. I thought there's the pride where they say love is love. So it's like, love is love. Can we have love for all humanity without like having to like judge them, not just color, sex and whatever. I just respect them as human beings. You may not really understand them, but just respect them.
So soalan dia berkaitan dengan pandangan awak tentang komuniti LGBT. Apa pandangan awak?
Pandangan saya, ikutkan saya sokong pasal program LGBT memang wujud dalam komuniti kita. Instead of abandon dorang, we should like help them, respect them. Respect tapi amalkan lah. Lalu saya tak respect dorang as human beings sebab tu hak dorang as a human, tapi tak support.
Pandangan saya sendiri sebenarnya LGBT saya tak sokong lah. Saya tak menyokong kerana dia bercanggah daripada agama lah. Dan dia juga akan meninggalkan kesan buruk kepada diri seseorang tu dan juga masyarakat lah. Sebab dia punya perspektif pemikiran dia, perwatakan dia, dan dia akan beri kesan impact pada negara.
Kalau based on Islamic law, it is wrong. Tapi kalau kita manusia kan, kita tak boleh nak halang diorang. It's their right. So sama juga sebab undang-undang dari Islam. Tapi masing-masing pendapat masing-masing. But kita kena ikut law. Kalau Islamic law memang haram, tapi kalau Malaysian law tak ada lagi ban kan. So as long as diorang tak buat kacau, macam even diorang nampak street people pun diorang tak boleh nak tengok yang tu kacau kan. Tu kita tak support lah. Kalau diorang je okey je.
Kalau saya tak suka lah LGBT. Macam Malaysia kan negara Islam kan. Kalau boleh elakkan lah. Selalunya kalau diorang LGBT kadang ikut kawan. Macam kawan saya ada juga, dia macam dia kan. Macam kita orang bagi nasihat, tapi dia kata itu hidup aku.
Okey je lah. Tak support, tak anti, selagi diorang tak bagi, apa orang cakap, selagi tak ada, diorang tak ancam my privacy atau my security in many ways. So I'm okay with that.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning everyone. First of all, I would like to welcome you all for joining this forum discussion. My name is Mavis and I will be the moderator of this forum discussion. So today we will like to discuss whether society should accept the LGBTQ. But before that, I would like to give an intro about what is LGBTQ. LGBTQ refers to lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and questioning. Lesbian is about a girl who is attracted to another girl and becomes interested in her. And gay is about a guy being interested in another guy. Bisexual means that a person is attracted to either a boy or a girl, mostly 50% of the gender. Another last is transgender. Transgender is defined as a person whose gender identity does not match the biological sex assigned to them at birth based on the appearance of their sexual organ. The last one is a questioning, meaning is not knowing whether one's sexual orientation is male or female, which means not knowing or having terms. These terms are used to describe different sexual orientation and different groups of people. So until now, I think everyone is clear about what is LGBTQ. So I want to introduce today's panelists who are here with us. So we have Miss Vicky.
Hi.
We has Miss Zhi Cheng.
Hello.
And we has Miss Honey.
Hi.
So who are interesting and nourish the speakers. So I hope everyone will enjoy today's discussion. So for now, may I know if any panel agree about whether society should accept the LGBTQ?
This one is something I fully disagree upon. Such phrases are commonly used to define various sexual tendencies and groupings of individuals. Despite this growing acceptability of LGBTQ people, to be a young person from a sexual minority could be challenging in a society that promotes heterosexuality. Such difficulties, in my opinion, are preludes to policy issues such as homosexual rights, the privileges of people who do not want to engage with homosexuals, and homosexual laws. Nevertheless, I take an apparent implication from current societal opinion that homosexuality is deviant and most likely to result in disappointment. So, should we even actually think about allowing them into our society?
Good question. So who want to disagree the Miss Honey point?
I would like to say something. Yes, I mean, LGBTQ should be accepted by society. According to the research provided by Wow Essays, the rate of same-sex marriage and relationship in recent years has been on the rise. Maybe people are unable to accept LGBTQ is because of their appearance and the way they dress and act, but this is not an excuse to discriminate against them. Society should accept them as they are human too. They feel what we feel. As society develops, the changes that occur should be accepted. What I meant is from resistance to acceptance of divorce and marriage, society has come to accept so many things. So homosexuality can be accepted in our society in the same way that these were. To support my statement, in 2004, Canada allowed same-sex marriage and stating that prohibiting same-sex couple from their right will be considered as discrimination. In 2019, the UK Parliament legalized same-sex marriage in Northern Ireland, which came into an effect, making same-sex marriage legal across UK in 2020. Since the government is moving forward step by step, society should also learn to accept homosexuality. This is because the wish to be accepted by people around them, just like any heterosexual person, and the fear of being judged have led them to feel uncomfortable and even unwanted marriage, which is not good for both parties.
I do support with what Vicky just said. I agree as well. Society should accept LGBTQs because they also have their own rights, just like what normal people do. There is no exceptions to lock their rights by pointing out the people, whether it's homosexuals or heterosexuals. As do you know, according to the globally statistics by all countries' communities stated that the average of LGBTQs equalities and visibilities by the average of global countries, the supporters tends to be more than opposers.
You guys have a point at that. A marriage where you choose a partner who is not there, you want to like it, order to conform to other people's opinions will not last and will lead the conflict or question between the two families. So now Miss Honey want to have some opinion to debate them for their point.
Yes. So when we look at it, same-sex marriages are viewed as not being the primary aim of matrimonial structure, and they might really take it more challenging for civilization to accomplish its objective of bearing children. They do not desire same-sex marriage to be mainstream. Rather, they desire it to be viewed as a social outcast. According to Mercer, in the year 2006, most religious organizations believe that the system of heterosexual marriage has indeed been effective throughout the millennia because societies has already have their own kids, safeguard their households, and carried out their current societal views and values. This idea holds that the community is consistent, but same-sex marriages threatens this. Some sort of marriage will eventually be recognized at the same level as heterosexual marriage. This is thought to degrade heterosexual marriage, as polygamy would ultimately want equal standing. How are the same-sex marriages going to be normalized?
I do see it that way. This is completely unfair as they should deserve the same rights of people who are heterosexuals. As mentioned earlier, unwanted marriages are not good for both parties. This is because they are forced to marry to people that they do not love in order to hide their identities. However, if the societies accept LGBTQs, they can stop heterosexuals marriage just to hide their sexual orientations, which can directly reduce the rate of divorce and abandoned children. To argue with that point, the same marriage, the same-sex marriage could make it harder for societies to complete its goals of having children. I would say adoptions and other procedures prove that same-sex marriage can also produce next generations. Nevertheless, not to mention the LGBTQ's Pride 2021 global surveys who conduct the survey based on the average of the countries over the same-sex marriage by country. It is surprisingly that results listed most people's support of same-sex couples could allow of marry legally and obtain legal recognitions.
No doubt about it, a stable relationship is an important reason for a happy marriage. So now I'm a fan Miss Honey. I assume perhaps you still have some point you want to work on to this discussion.
Yes, I do. Let us consider religion in this context. Even if the same-sex marriages are allowed in public, religion and homosexuality cannot cohabit since they are polar opposites. Most religions consider scriptures and theology to firmly condemn any kind of homosexuality. Others have been outraged by the verdict, which they saw as an ambitious attempt to reshape matrimony. Some religious communities had likewise chosen to keep silent. One explanation for this is disagreement among its members. The conflict between such a person's religion and gay beliefs, attitudes, or acts can contribute to frustration, despair, a constant dread of eternal torment, low self-esteem, and sensation of worthlessness. Religious teachings expressively ban homosexual behavior, laying the groundwork for conflict among conventional religion and homosexuality. Similarly, sociologists and political researchers who have studied priesthood have frequently discovered that religions leaders are more inclined to make public political declarations when respective religious congregations are united. We see something comparable when it comes to same-sex weddings. Religious conviction remains a significant barrier to public acceptance of homosexual behavior and same-sex marriages.
Okay, I won't deny that religion can sometimes be a barrier to public acceptance of homosexual behavior, but we often forget that religious belief also serve as the basis for LGBTQ acceptance and equality. In light of this, I would propose that religion should accept homosexual behavior as the intersection of LGBTQ and religious identity is essential to further the global LGBT movement, especially given how religion is expanding in scope and influencing the world. This acceptance can contribute a positive effect on society. And isn't that the goal that we want to achieve? We cannot remain in a stable society when people are not treated equally.
That's true. So until now, may I have one of the panel have to share with us whether you do have any LGBTQ experience from your side to persuade Miss Honey and the audience?
I personally do have one personal experience that I want to share about. It was actually quite a deep impression for me, one and only at that time when I was still a student who studied in primary schools. It is an all-girls school and it is obviously not surprised to see same-sex couples in my school. Back then, I had a friend who is one of them, and I still remember she is quite a cool girl and dresses herself like a boyish person, who people call her as tomboy. meaning girl who imitates as boys. She has a father and one brother only in her family, and I do know why she will act like a boy. I don't even know she loves girls, and I thought she just act boyish. Even I thought she had a girlfriend because of playing for fun. Until I happened to see how she protect her girlfriend from being bullied and laughed at by other students. She has never cared what people sees her and discriminate against her abnormally. She even didn't have a single worry of her futures of being lesbian, and she told me that people thoughts is not a concern for me, but the things that can make her look confident and happy is the main lead that she able to continue her path. The one thing I felt her the most luckiest is what she owns the parents who didn't oppose her for being lesbians, and her fathers and brothers still love her same like old times. In meantime, I didn't think LGBTQ is an issue, and I always think homosexuality couples' rights shouldn't be any different with heterosexuality couples.
It's such an interesting experience. Thank you, Miss Zhi Cheng, for willing to give your experience with us. So after listening to both sides and sharing their views, it's clear that each of our planners are arguments. So as well understood. So I think society should accept the LGBTQ because everyone is the same and should not be discriminated against because of their sexual orientation. So many countries have started to recognize the gay marriage, so which means the society has actually started to accept the issue of the homosexuality. So secondly, it takes the two people to make a relationship last, and a relationship that is not acceptable can easily break down. Social acceptance of LGBTQ people is a way of recognizing and respecting them, and acceptance will allow everyone to be unhappy and stressed about their sexual orientation. So may I know until now, is there any awareness that my planners can share with our audience to help them to start to understand more details about the LGBTQ?
From my side, I would suggest perhaps school authorities can educate the children from an early age in order to raise their awareness, because there's a lack of attention on educating youngster on what LGBT exactly is and what does it stand for, which cause people's ignorance. So maybe we can educate the children by organizing talks or speech in school to help them understand LGBTQ community and learn how to embrace it if they choose to accept it.
For me, I suggest that to boost employee recognition of LGBTQ Pride Month in the workforce by putting up posters, issuing memoranda, or making remarks at regularly scheduled conferences. Perhaps highlighting a few of the events that are taking place regionally, statewide and globally, such as the Pride Month Parade. Speak out whenever a colleague makes disrespectful physical statements about LGBTQ individual, makes a demeaning joke about LGBTQ individual, or displays homophobia towards another colleague in your company. It is critical to inform the individual that such behavior is unsuitable in a professional atmosphere.
I think speech and forum is the platform awareness public of current matters. Barack Obama had multiple times attended the human rights campaigns, platforms, and others aligned with LGBTQs for sure. He provided his support by giving an enlightened speech to the public to remark on inequalities, to fight basic rights for homosexualities. Awareness likely arises whenever someone like Barack Obama stands out to enlighten the present matters which trouble the LGBTQ persons. The purpose is to fascinate more public to unite and adhere to the LGBTQ stance on owning the rights and equalities for them.
Good awareness. Thank you, my planner. After listening to the awareness of my planners, I feel the solution is also important for some people who are not acceptable the LGBTQ, such as family members. My suggestion would be to consult them and install them to some knowledge about the LGBTQ people, as many older people think that they have the children are ill if they have the sexual orientation issues. In fact, homosexuality is not a disease. It's just the person you like happens to be the same sex. Counseling can help the older person to understand more about the LGBTQ issues, and either by professional or someone they know well. This will also help to make it easy for the family to accept. So now, after hearing all my planner the opinions, so I will give the conclusion about this. So society should accept the LGBTQ people because they are the normal people who are just attracted to the same sex, and that is not the reason for them to be discriminated again. In 2004, they created the International Day Against the Homophobia and Transphobia. The aim of this day is to draw the attention to lobby against the sexual minorities, and it has been recognized by the European Parliament and the United Nations. LGBTQ people should not be discriminated against by others. Society should understand them and get to know them. So until now, our presentation is end. May I know my audience have any question to my planner? Okay, so I have the one question for my audience already. So I will ask to my planner. So who can answer it? I can just answer it. So for the first question is it important for society to accept the LGBTQ?
Yes, LGBTQs always lead people to discriminate them. This makes them to feel how unfair and stressful. But if societies accept LGBTQ, it gives a lot of courage for homosexualities. People as societies should respect and accept what equitable relations between genders. That's all from me.
Great answer. I will also agree with the Miss Zhi Cheng point. So I think my audience also got another question is about, since we are here to discussing about should the society accept the LGBTQ, but there are still many parents unwilling to accept the truth. So I would like to ask, how can one come out as LGBT to family and friends? May I know any planner can answer this?
I would like to answer the question. So I'm sure different people will have a different reaction. They will react differently, but you should allow the person to be shocked and give them time to take the news. And I would suggest that it's better to take a quiet and calm time when you talk to them, which will give you all the time to talk about it. But if your family or friends react in a negative way, don't panic. Give them time to get used to the news, as their first reaction is not always the last reaction. Yeah.
Yeah, Miss Vicky, the point is correct because sometimes family need to take some time to understand about it. So that's all for today. For our presentation, suppose society is want to acceptable the LGBTQ. So may I know my planner still have another point? Or if no, then we will just end today the presentation.
No
So
from my side.
None from me.
I don't have anything either.
Okay, so great. May I know audience still have the other question also? Okay, great. So this is our presentation today. Thank you all for coming to this presentation and I hope you will enjoy it. Thank you and bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.